Gez Hokin's mercenary headquarters, Kilara.
You're a Daikut, Hokin said. He took off his helmet. His face was centimeters away from the Ubisi's, and he wanted it to look him in the eye. As a species, they weren't prone to trembling, but this one was doing a fine job of being an exception. "What are you?" he whispered.
A Daikut, sir.
"You've made me look like a Daikut, too. I don't like that." Hokin had assembled his entire senior staff in the room. He reminded himself that the room was, in fact, a disused Merle shearing shed, and that his lieutenants were the 20 least stupid individuals selected from the criminal detritus that had washed down society's sewer to Kilara. It disappointed him that the Neomordians would spend so much on secure communications and so little on personnel. A few credits more, and he could have bought the small army he needed. The Ubisi, Kaelsh, was standing absolutely still in the middle of the room as Hokin circled. It might have been a female, but you could never tell with Ubisi. But Hokin suspected it was a male. He hadn't wanted to hire Ubisi. They could be unpredictable, even sly. But very few mercenaries wanted to work on Kilara, and those who did were simply unemployable anywhere else, almost always because of a criminal record even a hut would balk at. And here he was, paying them what he could because Ankit wouldn't fork out for proper support. Hokin despaired, and when he despaired of professional standards, he suspected extreme coaching was necessary to refocus the team. "So you torched another farm," he said.
It was a warning, sir. In case they got ideas. Hiding people they shouldn't.
"No, that's not how this works." Hokin propped his backside against the edge of the table and stared into the anonymous masked face, arms folded. He didn't like people whose eyes he couldn't see. "You warn them first. If they break the rules, then you punish them. If you punish them before they break the rules, they have nothing to lose, and they hate you, and they will seek revenge, and so will their offspring."
Yes, sir.
"Do you understand that?" Hokin looked around at the assembled staff and spread his arms in invitation to join the coaching session. "Does everyone understand that?" There were some grunts. "Does everyone understand that?" Hokin snarled. "What do we say when an officer asks you a question?"
Yes, sir.
It was almost a chorus. "Good," Hokin said quietly. He stood up again. Then he took out Fulier's lightsaber, activated the beam, and sliced it through the Ubisi's neck, sending the head flying, bloodless, quiet, and clean. There was sudden and absolute silence. The staff had been quiet before, but they'd been making the marginal noises of people forced to endure a boring lesson. Now, there was not the slightest swallow, cough, or sigh. Nobody breathed. He peered down at the body and then at the legs of his dark gray uniform trousers. Perfectly clean, no blood. He rather liked this lightsaber now. He sat back on the edge of the desk. "That," Hokin said, "was punishment for Kaelsh. It's a warning for the rest of you. Now is the difference clear? It's very important."
Yes, sir.
Fewer voices joined in this time, and they wavered. "Then go and find our visitors. And you, Mukit, clear up this mess. You're Ubisi. You understand the proper way to dispose of the remains." The group began filing out, and Mukit edged over to the neatly sundered body of Kaelsh. Hokin caught the arm of his senior Weequay lieutenant as he tried to slip through the door. "Gutane, where's your brother and his friend?" he asked. "They haven't shown up for 2 meals, and they haven't signed off shift." "Don't know, sir."
Are they making a few credits on the side with that Trandoshan? A bit of freelance slaving? Sir, I need to know, to work out if anything unusual might have happened to them.
Goutonnet, no doubt recalling what Hokin had done to him when he chased that farm girl, moved his lips soundlessly. Then his voice managed to surface above his fear.
I have never seen, sir. Not at all. Not since yesterday, I swear. I chose you as my right-hand man because you could very nearly express yourself in several syllables. Sir, that makes you an intellectual among your kind. Don't make me doubt my judgment. Not to seen him, sir. Honest, never. Then get out on the route they were patrolling and see what you can find.
Hokin reached across the desk and took out the electroshocker. It was only an agricultural instrument for herding, but it worked fine on most non-animal species. Goutonnet eyed it cautiously.
This is why I disapprove of undisciplined acts like thieving and drinking. When I need to be certain of someone's whereabouts, I can't be. When I need resources, they're already committed. When I need competence, my staff is distracted.
He pushed the shocker up into the Weequay's armpit.
There is a Republic presence here. We don't know the size of the force, but we do have a speeder down in a large black crater at Enbron. The more data I have, the more I can assess the size of the threat and deal with it. Understood? Yes, sir.
Hokin lowered the shocker, and the Weequay shot out the door, his enthusiasm for his career refreshed. Hokin prided himself on motivational skills.
It started,
he thought. He shut himself in his room and switched on all the comlink screens.
They're coming to take Kilara.
Hokin had some idea of what kind of deal Ankit had with the Separatists. There had been a significant amount of construction work carried out to convert a grain store into the kind of building that had triple-sealed doors and the type of walls that could be sterilized with extreme heat. Then he'd had to try to make credible bodyguards out of the rabble he'd employed because important separatist scientists came and went, and the Neomordians saw conspiracy everywhere they looked. They weren't always wrong about that. Then the Jedi came to Embrani, and it all fell into place, as neatly as the arrival of the Republic forces now on the planet. There was a military target here.
I am my father's son, though. I'm a warrior.
Hokin wondered if all cultures, separated from their heritage, were unable to move on, doomed to relive old glories.
I'd rather be fighting for a worthy opponent than terrorizing farmers who haven't got the guts to stand up for themselves.
Fighting soldiers also commanded a higher fee, of course. And the greater the fee, the quicker he would be off this planet and heading somewhere. There was no longer a home for him, and few of his kind left. But things could change. Yes, they very well might one day. Hokin leaned back in the chair and let the chatter of comlinks wash over him.